Donald Trump's presidency was one of the most divisive and consequential in modern American history. From his first day in office to the moment he left the White House, Trump's policies and actions shaped the political landscape in ways that continue to resonate today. In this retrospective, we'll examine his economic, foreign policy, and social stances, while also exploring how his supporters and critics view his lasting impact on the nation. Trump's economic agenda was defined by his America First mantra. From tax cuts to trade wars, his policies were bold, often controversial, and left a deep imprint on the American economy. But before we start this journey, please smash that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you can never miss our upcoming content. Now, let's go. Economic policies. Trump's economic approach was primarily defined by his America First agenda. Key policies included Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, 2017. One of Trump's most significant legislative achievements, this tax reform lowered corporate tax rates from 35% to 21% and reduced income tax rates for individuals. Supporters argued it spurred economic growth and job creation, while critics contended it disproportionately benefited the wealthy and increased the federal deficit. Deregulation. Trump pursued aggressive deregulation across various sectors, particularly environmental protections, arguing that reducing government oversight would foster economic growth. His administration rolled back Obama-era regulations in areas like clean energy, emissions standards, and public lands use. Critics warned that this harmed environmental sustainability and public health, while supporters claimed it removed unnecessary burdens on businesses. Trade policies. Trump's trade policy was characterized by protectionism, most notably through tariffs on Chinese goods as part of a trade war aimed at reducing the U.S. trade deficit and encouraging American manufacturing. While some of his supporters hailed these moves as necessary to counteract unfair foreign trade practices, others worried that they would lead to higher costs for consumers and strain international relationships. Job growth and stock market performance. Under Trump, the U.S. economy experienced significant job growth, particularly in manufacturing and low unemployment rates before the COVID-19 pandemic. The stock market saw record highs, which was seen as a testament to his economic policies. However, critics argue that these gains primarily benefited the wealthy, and that the growth was not inclusive. Foreign policy. Trump's foreign policy was defined by an America First approach that often emphasized unilateral action, skepticism of multilateral institutions, and direct dealings with foreign leaders. Major areas of focus included trade and tariffs. Trump's approach to international trade was contentious, particularly his stance on China. His imposition of tariffs was intended to address trade imbalances and intellectual property theft, but it escalated tensions with China, leading to a trade war that hurt some U.S. industries and led to rising consumer prices. At the same time, Trump's withdrawal from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP, and renegotiation of NAFTA, replaced by the USMCA, were central to his protectionist stance. NATO and allies. Trump frequently criticized NATO members for not spending enough on defense and suggested that the U.S. might not come to the aid of allies if they did not meet defense spending targets. This strained relations with long-standing allies in Europe. However, he also emphasized his support for Israel, moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem and recognizing it as the capital, which was praised by some and condemned by others for its impact on Israeli-Palestinian relations. North Korea. Trump's unorthodox approach to North Korea, characterized by direct diplomacy and summit meetings with Kim Jong-un, was a major part of his foreign policy. Though Trump's engagement led to no significant breakthroughs on denuclearization His critics argued that his flattery of the North Korean leader undermined American values and interests. Social and domestic policies. Trump's presidency was deeply divisive on social issues, with sharp contrasts in how his policies and actions were perceived. Immigration. Trump took a hardline stance on immigration, emphasizing border security and the construction of a border wall between the U.S. and Mexico. His administration also implemented a travel ban on several predominantly Muslim countries and sought to end DACA, which protected undocumented immigrants who arrived as children. Supporters viewed these measures as necessary for national security and to uphold the rule of law, while critics saw them as discriminatory and damaging to immigrant communities. Healthcare. Trump made several attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act, ACA, also known as Obamacare, but was unsuccessful in fully dismantling it. However, his administration did succeed in eliminating the individual mandate, a key provision of the ACA. Critics argue that his efforts to dismantle the ACA threatened the health care of millions of Americans, while supporters argue that it was an effort to reduce government overreach. Legacy and impact. Trump's presidency left a polarized legacy. For his supporters, he is remembered as a champion of economic growth, national sovereignty, and strong leadership. His judicial appointments, especially to the Supreme Court, were seen as a lasting conservative victory, solidifying the influence of conservative ideology in American law for generations. His populist appeal and outsider status resonated with many Americans who felt left behind by traditional political elites. For his critics, Trump's presidency represented a departure from democratic norms, with a focus on divisiveness, misinformation, and disregard for institutional checks and balances. His tenure was often characterized by a fracturing of political and social cohesion, culminating in the January 6th Capitol riot, which many see as a direct result of his rhetoric and actions leading up to the 2020 election. That's a wrap on today's video. If you found this discussion insightful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.